So you're doing everything right, you think you're in a calorie deficit, you're moving around each day, you're getting your exercise and you're doing your classes, you go into the gym, but you are still not losing fat. This is a really common situation a lot of people are in, and today I'm gonna try and break down exactly why that might be, so you can start losing fat faster, you can get closer to your goal, and you can ultimately get to where you're looking to get to. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Chris Wright, and I am a body transformation coach and the founder of Fit Lab Coaching, where we help men and women worldwide get into amazing shape, drop body fat, build muscle, and ultimately become the best version of themselves. So you're in for a treat today, and hopefully this highlights possibly a couple of mistakes or things that you're doing at the moment, where you can start being a little bit more self-aware and try and work out maybe where things are going wrong. So we're gonna get straight into it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my whiteboard again today to show you potentially some of the pitfalls that you might be falling into at the moment. Now, in my opinion, these are the 4 biggest mistakes or 4 biggest reasons why people ultimately are not making progress when they think that they are. People think they're in a calorie deficit, they think they're doing everything right, and it normally boils down to these things here as the reasons to why they're not. So let's get into it. Firstly, it's hidden calories. People, even myself sometimes, don't even realize the amount of calories that are in certain foods, and they completely underestimate and they get this wrong. And there are a lot of hidden calories in foods that we don't even realize. Now, this is why it's always better to try and eat as much whole food as you can, because ultimately these foods are way easier to track. They've not got lots of hidden ingredients in them, lots of processed foods, makes it a little bit harder, especially when you're eating out a lot as well. Of course, this is going to make things even more challenging. It's not impossible, but it does make things harder. So how do we get around the hidden calorie situation? Well, this is where your tracking needs to be 100% precise. And I often say to people, look, always over predict your calories. So, if you are going out, if you are eating out, I would always over predict the meal that you consume, because it's most likely got more calories in it than you think. Most main courses that you have at a restaurant, they are going to have at least 1,000 calories in them. Most of them are going to have about 1,500 calories in them. And even if this is like, a plate of pasta or, a katsu curry at Wagamama, there's crazy calories in these foods, and you would never expect it. People are, oh, it's chicken and rice. It's not chicken and rice, because what you've got to remember is that ultimately when you're eating out, when you're eating at restaurants, wherever you're going, the goal of the restaurant, the goal of the chef is not to make the food healthy. Okay? If it was to make the food healthy, it would not taste as good as it does. The goal is that they make the food taste as nice as they can. It needs to be delicious, course. That's what they want. So what does that mean? Hidden calories, hidden sauces, hidden oils, hidden seasonings, higher fat methods of cooking, so the food tastes nicer. So this is where there are a lot of hidden calories that we don't always anticipate. And even in things like coffee or your favorite drinks, your favorite smoothies, there are tons of hidden calories in these things. Okay, we don't always anticipate. Even healthy foods, people eat a lot of fruit, avocados, nuts, nut butters. These have also got a lot of calories in them that people don't quite realize. So even when you think you're eating healthy, you think you're eating clean, you think you're eating the right foods, you are potentially suffering from hidden calories that you did not anticipate are in those foods. That is one of the biggest reasons to maybe why you are not losing weight at the moment and it's setting you back. Number 2, possibly one of the biggest pitfalls that people have is weekends, okay? People put themselves in a deficit between Monday and Friday, where they are probably losing body fat between that, but they overconsume massively at the weekend. They have a binge, they go out, they have a takeaway, and they undo all the hard work that they would have made during the week. This is super common, okay? Always happens, overconsumption at the weekends. Now, how do we get around this? Be sensible, be an adult. Now, you can have more fun at the weekend. This is what we do with our clients. We will set them up so that they're in a harsh deficit in the week, so that we get to a Saturday and we will give them more calories for an off-plan meal. We'll teach them how to get that in. They can even have alcohol. It doesn't set them back at all, and they still get results. But you have to stay accountable at weekends. You have to be sensible. You cannot be a dieter between Monday and Friday and then just fall off track at the weekend, okay? Weekends count. You are only as good as your weekends. This is what I say to clients. I don't care how good clients have been in the week if they cannot control their weekends, because you are never going to make results. Typically, there are arguably 3 days at the weekend, 2 technically, but if we're going Friday night as well, look, that's going to eat into almost 3 days out of 7 where we are not on track. We're not tracking foods, we're not measuring properly, and it is a pitfall that everyone makes. So you need to stay on top of your weekends if you want to be successful when it comes to fat loss this year. Now, number 3, poor tracking. Probably one of the biggest ones that people suffer from is they are rubbish at tracking their food intake. And this is a skill. It takes time to get good at it. I am still not perfect. You are never going to be perfect when it comes to tracking calories. You're not going to get it 100% precise. But if you are massively wrong with this, you are going to make massive mistakes. Poor tracking. There are studies to show that people that are overweight are up to 49% inaccurate when it comes to tracking their calories. 49%. Can you imagine the difference that's going to make when you're aiming for, say, 2,000 calories per day? That is almost 3,000 calories that you would have consumed thinking you were consuming 2,000. That's a massive mistake. That's enough to throw you entirely out of a deficit for you to gain weight. Now, how do we get good at tracking? We make sure we do things properly. We weigh food properly, okay? We don't take guesses. We scan barcodes and we track everything that goes past our lips. You don't just track the healthy meals, you track the sauces, you track the seasonings, you track everything. Over time, you start to understand tracking to a better level where maybe you don't have to be to the extreme, but not starting off. When you start off and you are new to this, you need to track every single thing that you eat because you are gonna start to learn what is in the foods that you actually enjoy and you will start to make better choices. But you cannot escape the poor tracking. It is absolutely pivotal. And this is, again, where most people struggle. People say they're tracking 1,200 calories per day and they're not losing weight. 1,200 calories is absolutely nothing. Everyone is going to lose weight on 1,200 calories, okay, period. But people get it wrong. They think they're at 1,200 calories and they're probably net averaging around 2,000 calories per day. Guys think they're at 1,800, they're probably net averaging around 3,000 because they are not staying accountable towards the majority of the foods that they're consuming. They are tracking them massively inaccurately. You know, people use cups to measure their food or spoons or whatever. The difference in different types of cups is massive. You are not going to get it accurately. You need to go and get a digital set of scales that gives you grams to the exact measurement and you need to use them religiously. My scales come everywhere with me, no matter where I am, and I've been doing this for over 10 years. I still don't chance it. I make sure that I do things properly so that I don't lead into this poor tracking. And you are not going to have to track your calories forever, but you are going to have to do it until you get to where you want to get to and until you have learned how to maintain without. Number 4, and the last pitfall that people make, and is overestimating exercise. A huge one that people make. There was another study that showed that people that were overweight overestimated the amount of calories that they burned by 51%. Okay, so they thought they were burning 51% more calories than what they actually did burn. Again, massive. Okay, you are never ever going to burn that many calories from exercise, period. Okay, if you look at a total daily energy expenditure graph, you will see that exercise makes the smallest portion of calories burned across the day. The smallest, okay? Normally about 5 to 10%, which is not that much. So you are trying to burn calories towards fat loss, it is not going to work. And if you think that by doing, you know, the class or you jumping on the stepper or you going for your run, your 5K, means that you can then go and eat more calories, it is not the case at all. You need to get this right. And I would, to be honest, I would not even worry about the calories that you burn from exercise, unless I'm working with a client that is, you know, running a marathon or they are doing a high rocks or something crazy, right? And they're burning a lot of calories. I don't care how many calories they burn from the gym. I don't ask them. I don't get them to give me the data because it is irrelevant. We don't go to the gym to burn calories. All I care about is how many calories they're tracking each day, how many calories they're consuming so that we can control their deficit through the calories they intake, not from the calories they output. If we burn some calories from the gym, well, that's just an extra, just a bonus. You are not going to the gym, you are not exercising really to lose fat. It's not how it works. And the biggest problem people have is they think they are burning more calories, so they then think they can eat more calories. Their tracking is poor, and this is like a vicious cycle. Burn more calories to lose fat, inevitably get that wrong, and then track poor calories or just mistrack food because you're embarrassed about, you know, consuming something that you shouldn't have. So these two are counteracting each other and just making things a whole lot worse. So anyway, guys, this is my summary when it comes to this video. These are the 4 biggest things that are inevitably stopping you at this moment in time losing weight when you think that you should be. You think you're doing everything right, but you're not. There are hidden calories in foods that you're not aware of. Your weekends are absolutely ruining your deficit, which you are not aware of. You are tracking calories to a very poor level if you're tracking and you're not doing it correctly. And number 4 is you are overestimating the calories that you burn from exercise. You're doing classes, you're going for runs, and you think you're burning loads of calories, but you're not. If you fix these 4 things and you make sure these aren't pitfalls, you will lose fat this year and you will get into amazing shape. Simple as that. Fat loss is a very simple equation. Calories in versus calories out. You just need to make sure that you control these factors and stay accountable and you're honest with yourself. It comes down to a lot of self-awareness and making sure you are doing things properly and you're true to your word. So as always, guys, I hope you find this video useful. If you have, make sure you smash the like button, make sure you subscribe for future videos, hit the bell notifications to notify every time I post on YouTube, and I'll catch you in the next video.